Here on this show, we have discussed a lot about settlements for consumers, and a lot of them have involved the Telephone Consumer Protection Act, which basically says you cannot do these robocalls, these solicitation calls, can't call at certain times. So we've seen a lot of settlements from that. But recently, a judge actually took one of those settlements and said, nope, this isn't good enough. This is not offering enough for those affected. And joining me now to talk about this is Scott Hardy with Top Class Actions. And Scott, it's not too uncommon for judges to, say that no, this settlement you've agreed upon is just not quite right. But this one felt a little bit different here. The judge kind of pointed out some things that the company had said that turns out aren't exactly true. And so the judge is coming out and saying, listen, you're going to pony up more than what you had agreed to because you've essentially not been completely honest with us. Take it from there.
Yeah, it's interesting. And, the judge is essentially saying that this settlement happened too swiftly. And consumers might say, what are you talking about? The settlement happened too fast. We want these things to close quickly. Well, the thing is that for a settlement to happen, the plaintiff and the defendants have to do their due diligence and show that this settlement is good for the consumer. It's good for those folks. And this one, frankly, on the monetary side, wasn't very good for class members. We see TCPA settlements settle for hundreds of dollars, at least $100 or more per claim. And this one expected a payment of $35.30 per claimant. So that's an issue. Then we take a look at the $4 million settlement. So on top, at first you say $4 million settlement, that makes a lot of sense. But the judge said, well, it was a $4 million settlement because the defendant and the plaintiff said, this defendant just can't handle more money than that. They can't afford more than $4 million. Well, when that defendant was on camera under oath, it appears that the judge saw some things that said, no, the defendant actually won't suffer a terrible hardship if they have to spend more than $4 million on this settlement. They also, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, of all the people in the world to probably never lie to, I'm going to have to go with in court to a judge on camera, probably near the top of that list. And it looks like that's exactly what this company did.
Well, they might not have lied on camera so much as when they were getting questioned on their finances and they had put forth that, no, this is going to be a hardship, more than $4 million, going to be a hardship for the company. And then when their bookkeepers or their controllers or their CFO, whoever was getting grilled about their finances, they must have squirmed a bit on that camera that the judge was reviewing as to whether it truly would be a hardship or if it's just a drop in the bucket. It's like Bloomberg spending $300 million. Wow, that's a lot of money. To Bloomberg, not so much. That's cab fare. So, that $4 million might not be a whole lot, and the judge really is trying to maximize the amount that each claimant is getting paid. And so they're saying, no, you got to pony up more money. We want to we really want to make sure they maximize that.
And another thing, it says here that they were taken into consideration is the attorney's fees that the class itself had requested. And once you factor that in as well, the judge still says this is not enough. You have to do better. You clearly can do better than what you had originally told us, and you're going to make it right. And, these are the kinds of stories that actually are uplifting. It is nice to know that we have some really good judges out there that are, in fact, looking after consumers. That feels like a rarity these days to really find a judge that says, well, hold up. You really did a number on these people, and you're going to have to pony up for that, and I'm going to make sure that you do. And so, therefore, this $4 million, you go back to that negotiating table and you come up with a number that actually works for those who were affected.
Exactly. And we've got the Lemberg Law Group, who's the plaintiff attorneys in this case. I reached out to them for some more comments on it to get their take on it. We'll add those to this article once I hear back. So hopefully, more to come. And ideally, we'll see those plaintiffs, at least the claimants, get a lot more than $35.30 each.
Absolutely. For more information about this particular issue, please follow the link in the description of this video. Head over to Top Class Actions, and if you haven't already done so, please make sure you sign up for their weekly newsletter. Scott Hardy with Top Class Actions, thank you very much for talking with us.
You're welcome. Thanks for your time, Farron.